The Switch 2 just came out, and so I'm going to cover some of the coolest features that I've already noted inside of the Switch 2. The coolest feature that I'm seeing is that they're already implementing game share into older games like Mario Odyssey. They released the game 8 years ago, but they still have local play and game chat as features for game share, so everybody thought that it would just be a local play feature similar to download play on the DS's, but it looks like you'll also be able to game share online. Again, as a reminder, on game chat, you will only be able to invite your friends. It doesn't seem like you'll be able to just game chat with anybody on here, so you won't have like really toxic public lobbies. I don't have another Switch 2 console. As it stands, I won't be able to look at that. I will be able to look at the game share plus local play though. So getting game share set up, it looks like this. You'll be waiting for other users, and so I'll go ahead and get my Switch 1 real quick. So if I go ahead and hit start, you'll see that the game launches, and it'll say on the top left, in a game share session. Only messing around with it to a slight degree, it doesn't really seem like it's amazing at game sharing. From a decent ways away, you could play the game pretty normally and not really have much lag. So say my Switch 2 right now is across the room. I wasn't able to get it on recording, but there was times where the Switch 1 would get really bad quality, and so just as long as you're kind of near the Switch 1, then you should be fine. Right now I have my Switch 2 covered by my Switch 1, there's a wall in between it, I put my PC in between it, and it still looks to be pretty good, so I'd imagine in the scenarios where you're trying to play like on the bus, or you're trying to play on an airplane, you have your friend with the Switch 2 or Switch 1 and you're trying to get them to play Game Share, play Smash Bros, play Super Mario Odyssey, you should be able to do it just fine. Just make sure that you're kind of nearby to each other, because again, the quality can get really bad. A small side note, but the Switch 2 does have a lot of memory. I actually didn't see that whenever I was looking at the release and stuff. I was able to download most of my games in the save data and still have a huge amount of space on here. I'll put the exact amount of space right now on screen, but that is more than enough, at least personally for me, to not really need a micro SD card. Mouse controls work really well. You don't really have to do anything special to set it up, just as long as you kind of have it in the mouse motion for the right Joy-Con, then it works. The thing that is kind of interesting is that I was totally expecting the ZR to be like a right click, and so I was expecting to be able to like go into my Switch menu and be able to do the same thing as like hitting plus if I went ahead and hit right click, but you still have to hit the plus icon in order to be able to access stuff like this. If you ever decide you don't like the mouse controls, you can go into controllers and accessories, scroll down, and the Joy-Con 2 mouse controls can be disabled. So say you just really didn't like them, or somehow they're turning on all the time, like say you just have them flat on your lap and you happen to just mess around with them, you could always switch them off, say you don't like them. And you could adjust the mouse sensitivity, so here there's options for high and low. One more thing that we can test is the microphone. So if you go into audio and you go down, you should be able to see a test microphone. So let's go ahead and try this out. I do have my PC on, and so the fans are going. That should produce a little bit of ambient noise, so we'll go ahead and test out the microphone noise suppression as well. This is me talking into the microphone of the Switch 2. It's a little bit far away, probably like 3 feet. This is me talking into the microphone of the Switch 2. It's a little bit far away, probably. So that's what it looks like, maybe 3 feet away. I'll go ahead and get a little bit farther away. I'm currently talking at a normal voice, probably 9 feet away, I would say. I'm currently talking at a normal voice, probably 9 feet away. And for this next check, I'm going to go ahead and have a crowd talking in the background to see if it's able to discern my voice. There's a crowd sound effect going on in my PC, so they should be able to emulate like a family environment. There's a crowd sound effect going on in my PC, so they should be able to emulate like a family environment. And now I have white noise playing on my computer, so should be able to emulate just like a fan going off. And now I have white noise playing on my computer, so should be able to emulate just like a fan going. So obviously, it's not a Blue Yeti microphone. It's what you get for paying for a Switch 2 with the $500. They've already put a bunch of other stuff in there, so I wasn't expecting the best microphone in the world, but it's, it's okay. It's fine. It'll do the trick. One more thing, if you go into your system settings into me, and then you go ahead and create a me, so we'll go to create a me. These are now styles, they're not actually gendered, which is really nice. Again, it still has the disclaimer, some games may use this as a gender indicator, but it's no longer specifically gender, it is now style. Okay, then also to note, the me menu now does have a dark mode, which shows a little bit of a gradient around the me's face whenever you're editing it. This isn't available on the light mode, so if I go ahead and switch it to light mode, you'll see that the gradient that was kind of showing around the Mii's face isn't really prevalent. If you go ahead and pair a pair of Switch 1 Joy-Cons, If you go ahead and go to the system settings and go to accessibility and you go to button mapping, you'll see you can go into the button mapping section and you're actually able to put Switch 2 Joy-Con options onto here. So say stuff like the C button. The C button is completely available for you to be able to use on your Switch 1 Joy-Con. So now that I have it switched out, I can access the game chat on my Switch 1 Joy-Cons by just hitting down on the D-pad and it works completely fine. There's also a switch now for button mapping and quick settings, so if you go ahead and switch this on, and you hold the home menu, you'll see that edit mapping is a thing on the right. I don't have a Pro Controller, but if you go into the actual how to use the GL and GR buttons, you'll see that there are buttons on the back for the Pro Controller. However, these just kind of work as macros, and so as you'll see over here, you could see you could bind it to A, B, or any of the other buttons that you have on here. They're not actual special buttons, they just kind of work to be accessibility buttons that you would use normally in a game. If you go ahead and go into your album, you can actually upload videos to your smart device. And so normally on the Switch, you have to connect to a Wi-Fi network and then scan a QR code. On here, if you go ahead and upload it, it'll just upload right to your Nintendo Switch app. And so if I just go ahead and hit upload, it'll say uploading. The upload will continue even if you close this screen. So you could actually close this and then you'll see it onto your Switch app, which is really nice. Searching for controllers also does sound a little bit better on the Switch 2, so if you go ahead and search for Switch 2 Joy-Cons, you'll see that they sound a little bit different. I'll try and get it close to the microphone. Yeah, because if you remember for the Switch 1 controllers, if you go ahead and go into here, oh, okay. So I guess that's another thing to note. You can't find Switch 1 controllers on the controller rumble section. So if you do the search for controllers, you only be able to look for Switch 2 Joy-Cons. You actually can't use it for the V1 Switch Joy-Cons. Let me go ahead and try that on a Pro controller, actually. So if you search for controllers, yeah, you won't be able to look for anything that's V1 Switch. You'll only be able to look for Switch 2 kind of accessories. Also available now is a text-to-speech feature if we go ahead and scroll down over here. So if you're familiar with the Minecraft narrator, it's pretty similar to that. So if I go ahead and turn it on,
Use text-to-speech.
and that was voice type 2, so we'll go ahead and switch to voice type 1.
Voice type. Type 1.
You can switch the speed of it on the slider.
Text to speech speed. 300%. 50%.
And then you could also change the volume of it.
400%. 25%.
Also available is a speech to text during game chat. So if you go ahead and go over here, you can switch it on and it converts the audio into nice little captions. And you could change the language independently from your actual Switch. So say you want to read in English but you speak Spanish, you could go ahead and turn that on. Así que puedes cambiar el idioma para cualquier cosa que estés haciendo. Also, just a nice feature for everyone actually is just the text-to-speech feature. So this will convert the text messages that you see in game chat into voiced audio so that you could actually hear it out loud. And so again, you have the voice types, type 1 and type 2, and you're also able to change the language independently from the Switch console just in case you, say, want to read in English but speak Spanish. For some final things, we'll go ahead and go into game chat and then go into the settings. You can see here the chat approved friends section. So basically this is like the whitelist of people that you actually want to play with. So say I don't like Lean Lover and I turn him off, he won't be able to contact me through game chat for whatever reason. And then over here, you could also mute your microphone when entering a chat session. I know that's something that I'll probably enjoy because I won't even realize that there will be something going on in the background, so I'll need to mute real quick. And so you could just turn that on over here and call it a day. And I think that's just about it. See ya.